Hey, thanks for checking out my channel. I'm John Stark from MacMovieGuy.com, and this is a review of RIPD 2. I don't know, subtitle doesn't even matter. It's RIPD 2. Why are you even here? I'm a blind film critic, and this is on Netflix, and it doesn't have audio description. Fun fact is, this film does have audio description. If you were to rent this VOD, it does not have audio description on Netflix. And yes, I already called Netflix, and I let them know, and I said, hey, you guys are usually pretty good about this stuff. I don't usually have to call and complain, but you just dropped a film that I know has audio description. Could you please upload the track? And the guy, that the technical guy was, yes, I've logged your complaints, and I've sent it on. And I'm like, cool, that doesn't help me now, but maybe, I don't know, however long it takes Netflix to get to things, they're usually a little bit better about this. If this was Hulu, I would say 2 years from now, there'll probably be audio description. Netflix, if you're really interested in this, I would say maybe wait 2 weeks. But I can't, was anybody interested in this? Did anybody want to watch RIPD 2? Like, why did we make a sequel to this? I want to know, like, in a world where TV shows get canceled and we have a hard time funding things, and we're like, oh, this doesn't get another season, this doesn't get another season. Who walked into a room and said, hey, I want to make a sequel to RIPD, and got a green light and got a budget? That film didn't make back its budget. Why are you making a sequel to a film that didn't make back its budget? Why are you making it years after the first film with none of the original cast a cheap sequel? At least I can kind of see the reasonings behind an Eraser Reborn. Eraser made over $100 million at the box office. It's an odd thing to do. It's 20 plus years later, when you think about it, to suddenly try to reboot or remake Eraser, or whatever you want to call that film. That film was terrible. And then the 47 Ronin sequel was just hilariously awful in all of the best ways. But yeah, I don't know why there's a sequel to RIPD, and I don't know, was somebody high on cocaine when they greenlit it? Everybody's like, oh, we don't have enough money to do this. Oh, we can't, we were all sitting around worried whether or not Netflix would have money to make The Sandman second season. But yet somebody had enough money to make RIPD 2? Why? Why does this film exist? The first film isn't even a cult. It's not even a cult classic. Nobody's been running around for the last 7 years going, oh God, you know what film really gets a bad rap? RIPD. It's like a 25 on Metacritic. I looked up the original on IMDb just briefly. It has like a 5.5 from audiences, which is a little bit better than I expected, and is actually ironically higher than the sequel. It has a 25 Metacritic score. So this is not a film. I saw it in theaters. I reviewed it back when I could see, and I think I gave it like a D+, D-, somewhere around in there. I didn't like it. I hated it. It was a very disappointing experience. They did create a good world that knocks off Men in Black, but in like a creative way, I guess, sort of. But it just wasn't funny. And this one isn't funny either. This one is basically, it's not really a sequel, it's a prequel, because it's the story of Jeff Bridges Roy. If you saw the first one, I don't know why you're here if you didn't see the first one. If you saw the first one, Jeff Bridges' character, which you probably have forgotten, his name was Roy. And Roy was like a Wild West sheriff. Well, if you've been clamoring for the backstory on that character, congratulations. We've made an entire fucking film about it. An entire film about the backstory to Jeff Bridges Roy from RIPD. So it goes back in time to when Roy, who is played by Jeffrey Donovan, which makes absolutely no sense. He's not even remotely the same age as Jeff Bridges, and these people are dead. So it's not like he's aging. He's not aging once he's dead. So how did he get from Jeffrey Donovan at his age to Jeff Bridges at his age? Were there no actors available that wanted to do this film that were remotely in Jeff Bridges' age range? I don't like Will Patton, I don't know, someone remotely close. I know, I don't even think Jeffrey Donovan looks like Jeff Bridges. There was no effort made here at all. They were just like, is anyone willing to do this movie? It's that Gladiator moment. Is there no one else? It was like, who's willing to have RIPD 2 on their film resume? And Jeffrey Donovan was like, hey, you know what? I haven't really done much since Burn Notice, so I'll do this film. And they were like, cool. Well, that's a pretty big star for us. We'll go with that. I don't really know the rest of the people in this film. I looked at their names and none of them popped out at me. But he does have a partner in this who's far less interesting than Ryan Reynolds would have been. But in this film, he's the rookie. It's right after he dies. And then he gets recruited into the RIPD. And it's his sort of first trial as a RIPD officer. He goes back to Earth, but he's sent to basically the same area where he died, and he's not allowed to communicate with any of his loved ones. But there's an escaped hell demon that's trying to open the portal to hell. Because, of course, I mean, there's always one, right? I think there's probably one right now somewhere in our Earth trying to do that. You know, that's what Roy's got to go do. He's got some dumbass name like Roy Cephas. It's really... And Donovan tries really hard at the comedy that's been written for him, which isn't funny, and he doesn't know how to deliver it. So I would say that the funniest and most entertaining thing about this film is the fact that the writers decided that what would be a good sight gag would be that these two characters ended up coming back as black women because they need bodies that are not their own, so they can't be recognized. Because Roy is actually interacting in places that he used to just be, so people know he died as the sheriff. So he can't just come back as himself. So Jeffrey Donovan has a black female avatar, I guess you could call it, in this film. That's what it's credited on IMDb. He has a avatar. And it's a black woman, a bounty hunter, and that was the gag, which does kind of set up for a couple funny moments where people are like, you know, oh, we got two black women, you know, during this, you know, late 1800s Wild West period. You know, they have a bounty and they're leading this like white guy across the country. Like this probably is not going to end well. So I guess there's a tiny bit of humor in that. But it feels kind of like, really, that's all you got? You came up with this entire film just so you could do that? I don't know why people made this film. I don't know why. I don't know who was sitting down and was like, you know what, RIPD did not get the reception it deserved, but if you let me write a sequel, I will save this franchise. You didn't save the franchise. This film is still garbage. It's, you know, it's also, by the way, it lacks audio description. So right now, it's barely watchable. There is a fair amount of dialogue in here, so you can watch from scene to scene and kind of follow along. But there were plenty of scenes I had no idea what was going on because they're just like monster fight scenes. So all you hear are just like roars and clashes and like destruction and gunshots. And stuff like that. And it's just, I have no idea. I don't even know what any of the monsters look like. I don't know what any of the deados look like. I've got no point of reference on anything because there's no audio description. So on top of the fact that the film is not good, I also was told that I was not important enough to be warranted audio description, which is odd because Netflix usually does a pretty good job about this stuff. But just a quick search showed me, oh, I found an audio description track somewhere else. Netflix, why don't you have it? Yeah, so it makes me a little concerned. And I hate to have to call Netflix. It's the service that I bother the least about audio description problems. But this is a film that I would not recommend watching just on the basis of how it's structured without audio description, because all of the moments that you might be here for, which are the supernatural elements, the battles and everything, they're not described. So you don't know what any of the monsters look like, what any of the deados look like. There's a big climactic battle at the end to try to stop the hell portal from opening. It's not described. I didn't even know when the bad guy was dead. It's just we kind of moved on and like dialogue started happening. I'm like, oh, I guess they killed him. Cool. You know, like I had no idea. I was like, I don't know what happened. He may not even be dead. You know what I'm saying? Like I have no idea. So it may not even be a spoiler. Something else may have happened to him. You know, he could have just been sucked back into hell. I have no idea what happens in a lot of this film. There's a solid third of this film that is unwatchable. 2/3 of the film are poor attempts at jokes and kind of walking through the Wild West, just sort of undescribed, by the way. In terms of any sort of costumes, set, scenery. Yeah, the only reason that you find out that about how the Black Avatar thing is working is because they openly discuss it. And also there are times where instead of having the RIPD officers doing their dialogue, it's the black females who are playing what everyone else sees are doing the talking. So that's, and it's very confusing. So I didn't know whose was whose avatar, and it was not a great experience. This is why I do this. I know it feels like you're a blind film critic. Why are you reviewing movies without audio description? Well, if the world is going to continue to treat me like I'm some sort of second-class citizen and continue to shove movies out into the world and force me to watch them without audio description, then fine. This is what you get. This is the review you get. So it's a shitty RIPD 2 sequel that they couldn't even be bothered to attach the audio description to when it came out. Netflix just couldn't be bothered. And then I can't be bothered. So I'm going to give RIPD 2 a D. I'm pretty certain that's probably the grade I gave the first one. This one's probably about on par. I don't think it got worse. I don't think it got better. That actually says a lot for both films, because the first film had a director that had done things before. It has Jeff Bridges and Ryan Reynolds. And this film has Jeffrey Donovan and a director who's directed nothing I've ever heard of, and a supporting cast I don't know. So the fact that it maintained the same grade means at least I thought the plot could be interesting. You know, the plot that I was trying to follow was somewhat of a good structured plot. But without the audio description, it was really hard to distinguish where this film would go. Is it better or worse? So I think it's probably about the same. I think they just made another shitty RIPD movie. They managed to not make it necessarily worse. Just about the same level of crap. So that's that. Go forth, young man, and don't watch this movie and watch something else instead. For multiple reasons. Anyway, If you've stuck this long with me in the movie review, then maybe you like me. So subscribe, because I'm going to keep reviewing films with audio description, and I bug streamers all the time about why they don't have audio description for film. Hulu straight up told me they were never going to put the audio description track onto Crimes of the Future because it's not a Hulu title. And I was like, okay, that makes no sense, but I hate you too. Thank you. We'll see what Netflix does with this. If audio description pops up in a couple weeks, cool. I don't know if anybody will notice. I don't know if anybody will care, but it's there. So subscribe so I can keep annoying streamers about advancing audio description. And I'm going to go review something else for you guys. But in the meantime, you can visit my website, macthemovieguy.com. You can go to the audio description project, adp.acb.org. It'll let you know what has audio description and where you can watch it. And you can go to the adna.org. That's the adna.org. And when a film does have audio description, you can look it up and see who the narrator is. And RIPD 2 is probably too new. I doubt the credits have been uploaded. It is user uploaded instead of industry uploaded and maintained like IMDb is. So you got to wait for somebody to claim, I did the narration, it was me. I don't know that anybody wants credit for this film. But that's I'm sure somebody got paid. Whoever you are, I'm sure you did a nice job. I'll just assume the audio description that's out there somewhere is probably fine, but that's it. So, and until next time, see you guys on the other side.